Hi everyone, this is Southernbelle 74 and I'm back. This is my first podcast of 2023. As you guys know, if you check my community wall, I've been under the weather, but I'm back and this is my first live show. So we're just going to go over some national hot topics. So just join the discussion, drop down in the chat if you want to, or just leave a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel. Let's get into our first story. This one is about a flesh eating drug that has hit the United States. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. And it's called the zombie drug.
Never heard of Trank. I never heard of Trank or anything, man, until I came here.
Alarm bells are sounding in Philadelphia about Trank.
And you'd see people kind of like walking around looking like animals when their knuckles are touching the ground.
Now Art El Malik's hands and knuckles are swollen to 3 times their natural size from exposure to the animal sedative xylazine, street name Trank.
When I was leaving, somebody had did samples, and that's what got me stuck, man. They had samples of pretty dope.
The xylazine now mixed into 90% of Philadelphia's fentanyl and heroin supply, drugs that drive fatal overdoses.
Adding a horse tranquilizer, something more sedating, makes it feel like it lasts longer.
But now fentanyl addicts newly addicted to xylazine, seen nodding out and falling over along Philadelphia's notorious Kensington Avenue, are also developing dangerous sores on their bodies.
Big ass holes all over you, these sores in your legs and wherever. They just pop out of anywhere.
Have the doctors told you that you could lose your leg?
Yes.
And that's not enough to get you to stop?
Trying. It's a lot easier said than done.
Art El Malik knows infection could precede amputation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. A lot of my friends have lost their limbs already.
Withdrawal symptoms associated with Trank can be brutal.
I tried like cold turkey, man. I had a seizure and everything.
You have problems on your legs?
I did, man. I had like a hole in my shin, and I could literally put 2 fingers in there.
We noticed one young man in a wheelchair missing his left foot. A federal law enforcement source told Pix 11 News vials of xylazine have already been found in New York City stash houses that produce drugs, and it's spreading to other states.
Last I heard, it's probably at least 36 or so.
Even though the animal tranquilizer xylazine is causing some people to lose their limbs here in Philadelphia, it is not listed as a controlled substance in the United States. The Drug Enforcement Administration does not regulate it. More than 50 years ago, the Food and Drug Administration approved xylazine for use by veterinarians as a pain reliever and sedative for animals. DEA Administrator Ann Milgram told a Senate committee last week her agency asked the Department of Health and Human Services 15 months ago to make xylazine a controlled substance.
We are tracking xylazine across the United States, and there is no question that it is an increasing threat.
And the FDA issued a warning last November about the burgeoning crisis. But the drug dealers abound on Kensington Avenue. Ralph Dixon, a lifelong Philadelphia resident, told us he's never seen anything like what's happened with Trank.
There are no place for these people. It was probably too potent for a human being to be taken anyhow. The drug dealers, why they cut the drugs with that stuff is beyond me.
I'm Mary Murphy, Pix 11 News.
All right, guys. Very, very disturbing. I couldn't even imagine being addicted to something like that. All right, so let's move on to our next story, and it's about the not so friendly skies. It seems as of late people have been just spazzing out, snapping out on airlines. Let's get into this next story.
A frightening rampage on a packed plane from LAX to Boston. A man going on a terrifying rant and promising a bloodbath on board.
And then I will kill every man on this plane. So where are they? Where's Homeland Security? Where are they diverting us? Because wherever it is, there's going to be a bloodbath everywhere. You can run away. You can all run away if you want. If you're men, you can run. I won't kill you. My Balthazar. You can put up your hands and say, don't kill me then, or don't approach me because I'm Balthazar. As renamed by God Balthazar. Since I'm taking over right now.
Oh, no.
And then he steps into the aisle holding something in his hand like a weapon. And moments later, he charges the front of the plane and stabs a flight attendant in the neck. Other passengers and flight attendants quickly jumping into action, swarming the man and taking him down. That plane eventually able to land safely in Boston, where police were waiting to board that United Airlines 757 and take the man into custody. We're also learning more about what the pilots were doing during this mid-air emergency. Eyewitness News reporter David Gonzalez live at LAX, where that United flight took off from on Sunday. David.
Mark, that suspect tonight is in federal custody, but as you just saw, it was a very scary ending for that nearly 5-hour flight from LA to Boston. And as you're about to see, things escalated very quickly after the flight attendants let the pilots know that he needed to land immediately because the suspect posed a threat to the plane.
Because wherever it is, there's going to be a bloodbath everywhere.
Cell phone video aboard a United Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Boston Sunday, captured by a passenger and now part of a federal investigation, shows the tense moments leading up to a flight attendant being stabbed in the neck.
Where's the Homeland Security with the gun? Because I'm waiting for them to point the gun at me so I can show everybody that I won't die when I take every bullet in that clip to wherever in my body they shoot it, and then I will kill every man on this plane.
In the video, a Massachusetts man identified by investigators as 33-year-old Francisco Severo Torres is seen going on an alarming rant.
Well, tell them to bring SWAT to shoot me down, because they're going to have to shoot me down today.
Torres is heard threatening other passengers and crew, saying there will be a bloodbath. Video of the midair emergency captures Torres going into the aisle, holding something in his right hand. He makes his way toward the front of the plane, where he swings at a flight attendant, allegedly stabbing him in the neck with a broken metal spoon. Several passengers quickly jumping into action and tackling Torres.
Person is detained, attempted opening of external door, emergency door. That person was subdued and is being detained right now. However, not going quietly. He's just laying there with 6 able bodies on top of him.
This picture was snapped by a passenger after Torres was taken down and restrained. Investigators say the crew was notified 45 minutes before the flight was set to land that an emergency exit door between first class and coach had been disarmed a quarter of the way. A flight attendant had seen Torres near the door and confronted him. Torres allegedly asked if there were any cameras showing he had tampered with the door. Shortly after is when the recording of the disturbing incident began. In a statement, United Airlines says, "We have zero tolerance for any type of violence on our flights, and this customer will be banned from flying on United pending an investigation." It is important to point out as well that the flight attendant who was attacked was not seriously hurt. The FAA and the U.S. Attorney's Office is investigating, and right now, Torres is facing an attempted interference with the flight using a dangerous weapon. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison. Reporting live from LAX, David Gonzalez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, David, thank you. Hello, I'm Mark Brown. A frightening rampage on a packed plane from LA.
All right, guys, let's move into our next story. And this one was very disturbing because it talks about what happened when funeral homes and crematoriums don't follow regulations.
6 bodies and 154 cremated remains. That's how many deceased loved ones were found in this Hayward warehouse. Now the Alameda County Coroner's Bureau says they're working to reunite the remains with families in 15 different counties.
Some of the families paid to have their loved ones, their remains scattered at sea, and that clearly didn't happen in a lot of these cases.
The warehouse is linked to Ocean View cremations. The sheriff's office says the bizarre investigation started after several complaints from customers to the California Cemetery and Funeral Bureau. Yelp reviews accuse the company of waiting months to cremate bodies, holding ashes for years, and refusing to return customers' calls after taking their money. According to the Bureau, one customer allegedly got the wrong remains.
If they did business with Ocean View between 2013 and 2021, it's likely we may have remains that belong to them.
Ocean View's business license was suspended in 2018 and again this past January. But according to the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, even when they were licensed, they were never allowed to store remains in their Hayward warehouse. The Coroner's Bureau seized all remains March 1st, but today we spoke to a customer who said he was still doing business with them.
I'm completely at a loss there. So it sounds like those are potentially new remains and that they're continuing to do business.
So far, 5 of the bodies have been identified. A 6th body has a tentative identification. But out of more than 150 other remains, the Coroner's Bureau has only been able to identify 6 family members. Ocean View did not answer the door at the warehouse today or our calls for comment. The state is investigating. However, it's unclear if the owner will face any criminal charges.
For the many, many families who placed, countless telephone calls to the business and got no final disposition as to what happened to their loved ones, it's providing them some closure.
In Hayward, Felina Jones, NBC Bay Area News.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
6 bodies and 154 cremated remains. That's how many deceased loved ones were found in this Hayward warehouse.
So
now
much,
the Alameda
NBC
County
News,
Coroner's
for
Bureau
providing
says they're
clip.
working to reunite the remains.
Could you imagine that? 154 remains missing and 6 bodies out of a crematorium/funeral home. It really makes you wonder, are we living in the last days? Well, we're going to turn that sad into a smile, because we have a missing Texas teen that was found alive in North Carolina, and that's going to be our feel-good story that's going to close us out for today.
We are going to talk more about this case now. We're going to bring in Sheriff Richie Simmons from Davidson County, North Carolina. That's where Lexington is. That is where this young girl was found. Sheriff, thank you for joining us this morning.
It's good to be with you this morning.
And I want to say good work. This could have been much worse, but you found that girl. She's alive. So a job well done to you. How did you find her? How did you figure out exactly where she was?
We were contacted by the Dallas FBI Violent Crime Task Force, and they said that they were tracking Mr. Camacho to this area. We rallied our troops very quickly. Within minutes, we had had some undercover vehicles watching the house where he was supposedly be, or the building where he's supposed to be, and we held that down until other units could get in the area.
How was she doing when you found her?
She was frightened. She was locked in the building that you're seeing. I could only imagine what she was feeling, being picked up, taken from her home that far away, 1,000 miles, transporting here. I can only imagine what she's going through.
And Davidson County is pretty rural. I used to work down there. I know Lexington's a big town for you all down there, but I do wonder, do you see this thing very often? This sort of case has got to be very rare in Davidson County, North Carolina.
You would think it would be, but it's not. In 2021, we had the reverse side of it. We had a girl taken from our little town of Denton. During the COVID, our school children were out. They were using a school computer, and a predator came from Pennsylvania to Denton and took a 14-year-old girl from here. It was kind of reversed this time. She was taken to Arkansas. We tracked her to Arkansas, where Arkansas officials were able to do what we did. So it's kind of nice that we're getting to do the reverse on here and help Texas out for what's going on, help this little girl out and ourselves. But that year we had 7 more cases like this where kids were taken. It's very
7 more cases. That is happening way too often. Before we go, I want to ask you one more thing, though. What is your message to the kids out there, to their parents, seeing as you have seen this far too often as you're describing?
Parents, take it real. These predators are out here. They're grooming and they're going after your kids. It's your responsibility to find out what they are talking to, who they're talking to, and do everything you can to keep your kids safe.
Well, that is Sheriff Richie Simmons from Davidson County, North Carolina. Again, well done to you and your officers in saving this young woman.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
All right, guys, and that concludes today's broadcast. With it being 2023, we have a new motto this year, and the motto is this: if you don't change, don't expect your life to either. Plain and simple. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.